okay, I want to be fair and sort of follow up my PlayStation 5 video a little bit. You can buy an external hard drive for the Pro and slap it on, and it doesn't have to be digital only. Still, my main complaint about Sony is the censorship happy nature of them. But I was thinking, like, if we're talking about $700 or $800, what are legitimate alternatives for this kind of money to still get a console like experience? Now, what I personally prefer and kind of what pushed me over the edge on this is handheld gaming PCs. So, like, the Steam Deck's a good example of a common budget friendly PC that you can just plug into a TV if you want, and just play it, or you just plug it in, you sign into your Steam account, you just download whatever games are on your Steam account that you want to play, and then you just play it. And this is the pricing on it. I know it's a lower performance kind of machine, but devs are always optimizing stuff to run on it. So that's an advantage. You can get some games that are actually kind of recent that will run on a Steam Deck. But again, if this isn't good enough, you can go up a tier. And so another really popular system is the ROG Ally. Now, I have heard issues with tech support that people have had, but see, it's 800. You can get a way better performance out of it. The only issue with it is it's Windows 11, so it's not as plug and play as like the Steam Deck is. But I think it comes with front end software on it already, but you can still just install Steam and use big picture mode. It's a Windows PC, and you can tell it to boot up Steam in big picture mode. You can add non-Steam games to Steam big picture mode, so you can launch pretty much any game installed on your system directly from Steam, and it'll just play. And it's practically an identical experience to a console. And there's different programs, like this is one of them called EmuDeck, that lets you do other front end installation stuff. I think they might have alternative front ends depending on your handheld, but it mainly allows you to add emulation game stuff to Steam. So you can add way more games than just PC games onto a handheld PC very easily, and it's easy to play them. Like, you just select an icon and then you hit A and play the game pretty much. And since it's all SSDs, boots up really fast and stuff. So what I went with, because this doesn't have a mouse and keyboard on it, and if you ever have to troubleshoot something, or a game just wants you to type something in really quick, it can be a little bit inconvenient. So I wanted something with a mouse and keyboard built into it. So I went with the GPD Win. And it's a little bit more expensive, to be fair. So this one's like $1,000. It's good for what it is. It's really, really small. It's one of the smallest handheld gaming PCs. It's pretty close to the size of a Vita. It is a little bit wider, and it is a bit thicker. But it's kind of like the size of a modern graphics card, but even smaller than that. So it is kind of thick, but that's still pretty small. Like, it's smaller than a Switch if you look at it head on like this, but it's thicker. So you can push it up, and there's a keyboard under it, and the thing below the right thumbstick is like a miniature trackpad. So you can easily, instantly go to mouse and keyboard whenever you need to. On the left below the D-pad is a thumbprint reader. So you can just put your finger there and it instantly just logs you into Windows. The time to boot it up is like 20 seconds or something, which I know that's a little long to some people, but I don't have an issue with being that patient. You can easily plug this into a TV. It has a USB-C port on the bottom and one on the top. So you plug in power in one, and then you plug in USB-C to HDMI in the other. And then it will run on any monitor that supports HDMI very easily. And you just Bluetooth a controller. There's docks you can buy very easily. Like, any kind of dock that goes USB-C to HDMI pretty much will work with this. So you can add regular USB ports and plug in any controller through USB. So you don't even have to use Bluetooth if you want to use a controller. So I've pretty much never had noticeable issues with this. Once in a while you have to update the video drivers, but even if you don't want to worry about that, you just turn off the Wi-Fi so it never wants to update. And then if your game's played before just fine, they'll keep playing just fine, because the software is just going to keep running as it always had been running. And if a new game comes out, you can just reconnect it to the internet, download the game, update all your software. Takes like 15 minutes to update it, and then just start playing a game again. That's if you want it to be as low fuss as possible. And so with stuff like this that are almost identical to a console experience, at this point I tend to not see an advantage to consoles unless we're talking about exclusives, unless we're talking about certain things. Like, to be fair about the PlayStation controller, is there's the DualSense technology stuff, and to be fair about the Switch, the controls are a little bit unique, and there's some games on the Switch that require you to like hold a controller and tilt it and stuff. So like they use sensors in the controller to control stuff on screen. So there's certain stuff like that that are a little more difficult to get to work on a PC. So I'll admit to minor differences like that. But considering like 80% of a lot of console libraries get PC ports anyway, like the idea of a version exclusive game is almost unheard of at this point. To me, this is just the better alternative when you're talking about something like a PlayStation being $800. Okay, for anyone saying you aren't convinced PC is still too difficult to use. When I boot up my GPD Win 4, it boots up into big picture mode like this. This is currently my GPD Win 4 I'm using right now. So see, you can just select a game. So like we can say Fallout 4. And then it launches the game. It's trying to log me into Bethesda's network thing. See, this is... Okay, we're in Fallout 4. This is the GPD Win 4. I'm making a Institute run character in this case. But see, it works fine. Quit desktop. I'm using a controller. Look, OpenMW, Morrowind. Alright, you just select it. Look, we're playing Morrowind. It's Morrowind. Something you can't play on a console. So those are both things you can't play. Tale of Two Wastelands. People say TTW is difficult to install, but I didn't have too much trouble getting it to work. Look, Tale of Two Wastelands. Boom, we're in Tale of Two Wastelands already. See, it runs great. I don't see how this is any more of a problem than like any video game console. Like emulation station. Look, it's Donkey Kong Country. We're already into Donkey Kong Country. It was that fast. There you go, one player. Look, it's Donkey Kong Country. It's like, why? How is this any worse than a console? I don't... To me, this seems at least as easy as any console does. If you're afraid of PCs, like, this is the advantage of the Steam Deck big picture mode front end stuff. Look, I can quit out really easily. We're in big picture mode. I don't get why people hate big picture mode. Look, library. Look, these are my installed games. Some of them. Look, AM2R. I'm doing this entirely with an Xbox controller. Okay. I think this is before there's like the first mini boss. But see, this is another thing, you can't play on consoles. Look, I went into the game really fast. I got out of the game really fast. What exactly is so hard about that?